Okay, morning guys. So this is take 2 because my family just came in and disturbed me. Okay, so first of all, we're going to be looking at the soldier today. I just want to say I'm really super proud of the ones of you that are doing the work. You will see the benefits. I'm really pleased. You know, you've been doing so well in class. I've praised you so much because I can't believe how well some of you are doing. And told you that actually you could achieve far more than you're predicted to achieve, but you have to keep this work going. You know, the work you've been doing in class has been amazing. Your understanding is so good. You know, we do those starters and you're on it. So I'm really pleased with you. So we're going to look at the soldier today, which is almost the opposite of Dulce. So Dulce was all about the World War One, which this one is also about World War One. However, if you think about the message from Dulce decorum est pro patria amore. He says it's a good and sweet thing to die for your country. But he's not saying that that's the case. He is saying, Owen is saying, war is horrific. War is horrendous. Remember, he invented that saying, the pity of war. And that's been used ever since, the pity of war, how tragic war actually is. And his last part, the Dulce decorum est, was saying, stop telling people back at home, stop using that propaganda and telling people that it's a good thing to die for your country, because it's not. If you could see the suffering and the hardship that these young men are going through, you would not be saying that. Now, Brooke here, who we're going to look at with the soldier, he's saying pretty much the opposite. He's actually saying it is a good thing to die for your country. It's the right thing to do for your country. And he's really patriotic, which I'm assuming Owen is patriotic as well, because he signed up, he joined up to fight for his country because he loved his country, he wanted to defend his country. But the realities of war were enough for Owen to want to tell people to stop. Whereas Brooke, as you saw in the context on the PowerPoint, which I'm hoping you've copied into your tables, Brooke didn't see active service. He never saw the front line. He had no idea about the reality and the brutality of war. So he had this kind of idealistic, this perfect kind of rose-tinted glasses look at war. And this is why he wrote the poem. So his is called The Soldier, which is kind of, it's generic. It's about any soldier. It's not about a specific soldier, you could say. He's saying any soldier should be pleased to die for their country. So, as you also saw in the PowerPoint, it's written as a sonnet. So how I do it in mine as well, remember I've told you this before, is I write at the top structure and I would write a sonnet. And as you'll see from the notes, for me it shows what sonnet's normally about. You should know this from Ozymandias. Normally about love. And whereas in Ozymandias it shows that he loves power, this one is about love. This is about how much he loves his country. So he loves his country. And that is, remember, again in your glossary, being a patriot. So being a patriot or being patriotic is what you say. If you would say he went to fight for his country because he was being patriotic. But you would say he is a patriot. Okay, so we've looked at the first line. The title, The Soldier, very generic, could be about anyone. However, look in the first line. If I should die. So this is first person. So we could take it that he is actually talking about himself, couldn't we? First person. If I should die, think only this of me. Now, this is very similar as well to Dulce, in that he's appealing to the reader. But also, because he's using this imperative, think only this of me. Remember, an imperative is a bossy verb. He's telling them what to do. It's almost a little bit like the reader has to agree. And it's also showing his true feelings. He's saying, if I die, this is what you've got to think. He's saying, there's no kind of ambiguity. There's no, oh, I'm not sure what to think. I'm telling you what to think if I die, so this is what you need to think. And then he goes on, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. Okay, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. So what he's saying by that is that if he dies somewhere, wherever he dies, a little part of England will be there. He's saying he kind of embodies England. England is in him. He is England. So therefore, if he dies, wherever he falls, wherever he dies, wherever he's buried, that little part is going to be England as well. England will live on despite his death. Okay, so England will live on despite his death. I'm sorry about my scraggy writing. You know how bad my writing is. England will live on despite his death. And then he says, there shall be in that rich earth. So he's talking about the earth, the mud, a richer dust concealed. Now, here, concealed means hidden. So again, he's talking about this field that he's getting buried in if he dies. There shall be in that rich dust a richer dust concealed. Now, he uses that superlative, kind of hyperbole. Is it a superlative? Well, it's not richest, but he uses this to say it's richer. So his body is richer than the earth that it's buried in. Why is it richer? Because he's English. So hidden away in a rich earth, there's a richer. It kind of gives this idea of England's or stroke English superiority, being better than everyone else. And that's what he thinks. He thinks that England is better than everyone else. Oh, sorry. Hold on, I'm going to chain it round. Now, this next part is kind of a key part, because what he's saying here is a dust, so he's talking about his body again, a dust that England bore. Now, by that, he means gave birth to. Gave birth to, shaped, it made him the person he was and made aware. It gave him knowledge. So you've got this triple here, bore, shaped and made aware of the things England did for him. And as I said in the notes, this is the extended metaphor of England as a mother, a dust whom England bore here. England as a mother. So I'm going to write extended metaphor there. So you probably heard of Mother Nature. It's a little bit similar to that. It's a bit like Mother England. Something to give thanks to, something to give praise to. And then he lists the other things. Gave once her flowers to love, her ways to roam. By ways to roam, he means like countryside to roam about in, to walk about in. A body of England's, breathing English air. The idea, look at this, how many times he used the word England? He's emphasising his love for England by the repetition. I put repetition of England, stroke English, emphasises his love for England. Where do we get to? And look, this nice list here. Flowers, her ways, breathing English air, washed by the rivers, blessed by sons of home. So you have here all this lovely natural imagery, which you can't help but find beautiful. The idea of rivers and countryside and flowers. And really what he's doing here is, I would say, he's praising England. This whole poem really is about his love and his praise for England, and the fact that if he dies, he doesn't care because England will stay with him. It almost, even if he dies, England will still his love for England will still be there. It kind of transcends death. So this shows he loves the countryside. He loves what England has given him. Now, remember we said this is 14 lines. So the first 8 lines, and you may want to know this, you may not, it's just maybe a bit of interest, it's called an octave. And the second 6 lines are called a sestet. And normally you get a little bit of a change. So here he's talking about, if he dies and the wonders of England. And then you get this little change. The change in a poem is also called a volta, which means like a sort of change, slight change. You'll see that in Aussie as well. And then he's saying, almost like he's been going to be, if he does die, he's going to be purified and think. No, again, he's appealing to the audience, should we say? Appealing to audience. And this repetition, think only this of me and think this of me. I'm telling you what to think. And think this heart, so his heart, all evil shed away. It's almost like if he dies, his death will almost cleanse him. It'll be purifying. You know, to die would be a great sacrifice that he's willing to make and he would want to make. But then he says, a pulse in the eternal mind. It's almost like a pulse is like your heartbeat and the eternal mind. So these two words almost say that his love will live on. Love will live on past death, because he's saying if he dies, there'll still be a pulse in the eternal mind. So it's like his heart will still keep going even after he dies. His love will still keep going after he dies. And then we have give somewhere back the thoughts by England given. There's a little bit of a cycle, this line, a cyclical line. You've got gives and given. And it's almost like it is a cycle of life. Like, because it starts with it starts with gives and ends in given. So it's like he's giving back what England has given him. So it's like this cycle of should we say a cycle of love? That's quite nice, isn't it? He is giving back what England has given him. Her sights and sounds, dreams happy as her day, and laughter, learnt of friends and gentleness, in hearts at peace under an English heaven. So again, we've got this personification of Mother Earth as her and her. So her sights and sounds. So all of his memories, all of his dreams, laughter, the happiness, the life that he's had. So the life, I'm going to drop my phone, that he has had. I'm going to say he gives back readily. So he's happy to give it back. He gives back readily. And obviously, I know that I talk fast, but you can quite easily, obviously, just pause this and look at the annotations and also the things that I'm saying as well, if you want to write extra notes. You know, I always like extra notes. Sorry, guys. Her sights and sounds, dreams happy as her day, and laughter, learnt of friends, so the good times that he's had, and gentleness, in hearts at peace under an English heaven. So this idea of hearts at peace, his heart would be at peace. He would feel it's almost like he would feel grateful, I feel like, that he'd been able to make this sacrifice under an English heaven. Even that, this is an English heaven. It's not just heaven, it's an English heaven. So he sees the idea of the afterlife as being England. He believes that England is so perfect and so wonderful that that would have to be what heaven was like, which I think is quite nice imagery. And it is nice imagery. All of this is very nice, but it's also not a good representation of war. And it's almost this kind of poetry that Owen objected to. The reason why he wrote about the realities of war is because of poets like this. And there was another poem called Who's for the Game. All of these kind of propaganda poems. You might want to look at Who's the Game, actually. That kind of trivialise war and make it out to be a game, make it out to be wonderful and very dignified, when actually war really isn't. It's brutal, it's horrific. It takes away people's humanity, like you see in Dolce. So I want you to write all of these notes. Obviously, I haven't written, normally I write kind of at the bottom, key quotes, and I highlight them on the poem, but I haven't got another colour. But you've seen the key quotes, so look back in your book and you can do that. And then I also do themes over here, and themes it would be the effects of war, death and loss. And you have got some nature in there, haven't you? Some nature, some nice natural imagery in there. Okay, we won't look too much at punctuation really. I think we've covered everything. So really, if you were doing a comparison of these two poems, which funnily enough, that's what you're going to be doing, after you've done your section A on the soldier. So this is today's work, 20 minutes, annotate your poem, bosh, done. Section A, I'm going to give you a structure trip tomorrow. You're going to have a go at doing that. And then I might just set you for the rest of the week, I think, the comparison. And again, I'll give you a structure trip, but such easy poems to compare. Now, the similarities, both written by World War I soldiers, both written about war and the effects of war. However, look at the differences. Look at the structure of this sonnet, all about loving his country, personifies, uses an extended metaphor of England as a mother, personify that she's made him who he is, and he's so grateful for that. He's willing to give up his life, he's willing to sacrifice his life, and look at the lovely imagery in it. It's all really nice, isn't it? Now think about Dolce, think about the structure of that, the broken up structure, the present day, going back into the past, going in his dreams, the appeal, both appeal to the audience, but in such different ways. Make a direct appeal, you know, if I should die, think only this of me. And Dolce appeals to the audience and tells them not to tell lies. You know, so some really good and easy comparisons. The language in Dolce, I've said to you before, is absolutely fantastic. Brutal, harsh, horrific, and stays with you, exactly like he says, you know, in all his dreams, he cannot escape the sight of this man, the metaphor of him drowning in the gas before him, before his helpless sight. There's nothing that he can do to help this man. You know, it must be a huge feeling of helplessness being in those situations, and that's how Owen felt. Okay, right, so I've probably spoken for enough now. I will leave you to it, and please do email me, or actually I prefer it to email if you can. I'm going to try and put this on Google Classrooms now. It takes ages to upload, but let me know if there's any issues. Okay, thanks guys, bye.